Welcome, everyone. As our attendees continue to roll in, I just want to give a special welcome and thank you for attending our virtual open house. My name is Chrissy Lebke, and I am an admissions counselor here at the University of Denver. I am very excited to be joined by the kinesiology crowd tonight. We have such amazing hosts here with us. To go over just a few housekeeping items for all of you, please, if you have any questions, use our Q&A function. That's going to be your best way to communicate with us and ask us questions throughout the evening. We will have time at any point for you to have your questions answered. Also, if you are interested in closed captioning, we do have that enabled. So please turn that on if that is what you are looking for. And I am going to go ahead and turn it over to our fabulous guests from kinesiology and sports studies. So thank you all again so much.
All right. Thanks for Chrissy for having us here and the team. So this is the team too. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. We're all going to introduce ourselves and talk a bit about the program and that. Without further ado, I'm Dr. Brian Garrity, Professor, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at the Graduate School of Professional Psychology, and former director of our programs here, along with new directors of our programs as well. So quick history about the program. I was hired by DU in 2014 to start a master's degree in sport coaching fully online in our GSPP, our graduate school. And even back then when I was hired, I noticed right away that the University of Denver had no undergraduate degree in anything related to kinesiology and sports science. So, in sports studies. So right away it was like, wow, like what a great opportunity this could be down the road. So we started the master's degree in sport coaching in 2015, have maintained that. We've added additional graduate certificates in strength conditioning and fitness coaching, psychology of coaching. I came previously as a strength conditioning coach at the University of Tennessee. Back then, the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians baseball team. Was a football coach, strength coach in Mississippi as well when I was a professor down there for 5 years. Then had been at DU since 2014. So over the years, then here we've been able to get resources and support, hired this great crew of faculty here, as well as other faculty and staff. And it's just a great university. And we started the minor first 2 years ago in kinesiology and sports studies. That's continually consistently grown. And then this past fall, we started the major. It's a Bachelor of Arts in kinesiology and sports studies. And I'll talk about the vision and the mission of the program we spent. And it's funny, as we were thinking about telling folks about the program, what's your vision, what's your mission, what do you do, how do you differentiate yourself? These are things that we spent quite a few months and weeks on just this past year. And I'm smiling because right as you engage yourself in business, and we're in the business of education, it's a great thing to revisit, especially as you grow and change. And that's exactly what we've done here in the past year a lot, hiring a couple of new faculty too. So it's on a website, but purposely I'll say the vision is, I'll read it verbatim. Our students will be well-prepared, curious, and ethical scholar practitioners and leaders who integrate diverse ways of knowing to solve personal problems, address social issues, and live meaningful lives. The mission is, we execute a comprehensive, flexible, and progressive curriculum with engaged and challenging teaching and learning with a community of diverse learners, alumni, and networks. And as you might expect as academics, we spent quite a bit of time wordsmithing that to the point where we felt like it flowed to hit a lot of the main things that we really try to do. So as you get a chance, we'll revert back to that or talk back to that. Check out that on the website. But I think to say it plainly, and what differentiates, and when I think about this group, and I think about this team, these folks on the screen right now too, and I'll turn it over to them, are very caring, smart, passionate people. And at the end of the day, the people make the difference. And I'm fortunate that, I get to work with these folks every day. They don't pay me to say these things, so I get to say what I want to freely about them. And it's a team approach. We, really bridge trying to be that sport coach model as well as scholar coaches, scholar practitioners. And so with the wealth of academic experience that we have, sport and sport related contexts across the diverse fields that we've all worked in or continue to work in or consult in, this is just a tremendous group of folks that not only are physiologists or sports psychologists and sociologists and these folks, they're people that have worked with others, with teams, and been boots on the ground, as well as shaped the fields that we work in by writing books, doing articles, public speaking, being involved with American Kinesiology Association, National Strength Conditioning Association, and others. That's just a sampling of a little bit of the work that I know that we kind of highlight there too. So I don't want to continue talking. We would definitely want to hear from folks and have y'all ask questions. So I'll do we had a meeting, this group had a meeting earlier today. And so the phrase we say popcorn, I'll popcorn over to Dr. Clayton Kucklick, another professor in the program.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Clayton Cooklick. I've been here at DU since 2016. I know Dr. G kind of, you know, he's very humble, let's just say. Started the minor in 2021. We got the major launched in 2023. I know he's the associate dean now, but has just been an absolute warrior with getting this program up and running. So there's so much excitement and positivity coming around actually also at the university here. So it's just really exciting. Like I said, I've been here since 2016. My previous experiences were in collegiate coaching, physical education, in general. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I started out at West Virginia University. I was a collegiate athlete there. Started out with physical education was my main major. I then transferred out and had a degree in elementary education. I got into collegiate coaching after that in baseball specifically for about 8 or 10 years along the road out on the East Coast. Teaching at different or coaching at different levels, Division I, Division II, not Division III, also at the high school level too, multiple sports. And I was also a high school football coach during that time too. Along the way, I got a master's degree in kinesiology, human performance, which more of like an exercise science type degree, and then got a PhD along the way as well. And so I got into coaching education, going on 10, 11 years now. And it's been just a great learning experience too along the way, teaching physical activity, teaching coaching and kinesiology concepts. One thing that I love that I can guarantee you that is probably the best part about working with this group and this group of faculty, and the one commonality that we all have is that we are just so absolutely passionate about teaching others about physical activity, strength and conditioning, movement preparation, and everything that goes into that. And I am just so empowered by being together with this group because I do think it is a unique thing across the country, and I don't think you'll find another group that is that passionate about that one thing, and that's teaching, kinesiology concepts, movement to others. So I'll leave you with that. And like I said, it's just been a great experience getting this up and running and being a part of this unit. Popcorn, Carwin Sharp.
Thanks, Clayton. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your interest in the program in kinesiology and sports studies. I have a somewhat eclectic background. It's quite varied, but I believe I can bring that to this program. The reason this is my first year here at DU, and the reason I'm here is because of this kinesiology program. I actually prior to this was working in Rome, Italy, for AS Roma, a professional soccer team, rated one of the top 10 in Europe, and There I was the head of human performance. I oversaw the sports science department, medicine, nutrition, psychology, strength and conditioning, anything that had to do with working directly with the players. Before that, I worked at the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee. I was senior sport physiologist there, working predominantly with Paralympic athletes in both summer and winter sports, predominantly endurance sports. But I'd also been working with Olympic athletes in a number of sports, particularly power sports like Taekwondo. So a number of different sports, really, really enjoyed it there. And I'd also worked at the National Strength and Conditioning Association as the chief science officer. But I actually got my PhD was in nutrition, and my undergraduate and master's degrees were in exercise science. And so my interest that tied all this together was how exercise, whether it's strength and conditioning, endurance, power, plyometrics, and nutrition, how those interact together to allow skeletal muscle to adapt. And that actually originally after my PhD, I did some time working at universities, and then I worked at NASA at Johnson Space Center in the exercise countermeasures division, looking at astronauts before, during, and after flight in terms of their exercise and nutrition. So I have an eclectic background. I try to bring that to all the classes that I have. So for example, I'm a scientist, I have a PhD, I have published in this area, I've written in this area, but I've done a lot of work directly with athletes. And so in my classes, we talk about the science, the current science. What does the current science say? And then how do we apply that? So for example, in my athletic nutrition class, we talk about the science of, what are macronutrients, what are micronutrients, and then what do athletes need and what do different athletes need? And then the students have to do a dietary recall. And they have to think about themselves as an athlete. What sport do you play, or what have you been interested in? Even if you're not an athlete, what nutrition do you take in? What physical activity do you do? And are you meeting your needs for that? Another assignment they have is to, design a post-exercise drink based on what we know about macro and micronutrients, what do we know about supplements, the timing of supplements, how much you should take. Then they have to design that for themselves. What's something that you should be consuming after exercise that's going to help you recover and adapt? So that's me. It's science and application. I just love it. That's what I've done for more than 20 years now, in a variety of sports, but that ties it together. And that's what we do in my classes, whether it's anatomy, strength and conditioning, nutrition. It's the science and how we apply that. So something you would get here at DU is not just the theory, but you walk away with, how do I apply that in the real world for me as an athlete, for me as a person? And then if you're going on to work with athletes, regardless of what sport that is, whether it's at the elite level, collegiate, high school, recreational athletes, you'll walk away with skills that you can actually use with those people and with yourself. And I think that's a good segue for me to popcorn over to Dr. Sarah Campbell, who hopefully will tell you a little bit about the internship program amongst many other things that she does.
All right, you put me on the spot. Oh man, all right. Well, let's skip internships for now, and I'll just introduce myself, and then if I'm actually really excited to hear from y'all and see what questions you have about the program, and if it centers around internships, I'm happy to answer them. But as Dr. Sharp said, I'm Dr. Sarah Campbell, and this is my second year here at DU, and I feel very fortunate to be working with these scholars and teachers and just learning alongside each other and learning from the students and whatnot. The majority of the courses that I teach are, I think I sent the link there. A lot of the courses I teach are kind of those required courses, a little bit more right now on the social science side of things, like diversity, equity, and inclusion in kinesiology in sport, ethics in sport. And like Dr. Sharp, I really believe in getting y'all to do some of the work, right? Like, I don't want to sit up there and lecture for hours. A lot of the classes that I run are very interactive. A lot of me challenging and posing questions to you, trying to give you tools to answer those questions and working with your peers to try to imagine how the information could be applicable to you as you move forward in your career, whether that's through physical therapy, occupational therapy, personal training, whatever it might be. So Yeah, and I'm happy to I have a little website of my teaching approach that I'll pop in the chat for you to check out if you want to, that really breaks down how I teach all these classes, what are the assignments the students go through, and what are different things that I do, so you can get a sense of that. But as far as my background goes, I'm guilty of almost like single sport most of my life was soccer. I did play some other sports growing up, but played soccer for a long time till I was about 26, and then decided I want to give back to the game, and coached in a variety of different areas, such as coached like Dr. K coached at D1, D2. I didn't hit D3 either, Dr. K, but I did hit NAIA at one point. And then I ran a youth soccer club for a little while. So, really got a sense of how do I oversee and manage a business, and oversee and manage and train coaches, and work with youth parents, which can be challenging at times. And so I have some of that practical experience too. I also worked as a strength and conditioning coach for a while. And then all the while was always in and out of teaching in different university settings too. And so feel really fortunate to be here, and excited to hear what questions you all have for us. And I'll stop there and bounce it over to Kayla.
Hi, my name is Kayla Walker. I am the staff person for the Kinesiology and Sports Studies program, and I will throw my contact info in the chat. So if you have any questions after this, please feel free to reach out. So I came here in a little eclectic way as well. I was an athlete in college, and then worked selling books for a few years, and then went and got my master's in English. So a little bit of a different path, but this is still something that's really near and dear to my heart, and have so enjoyed working with the faculty and with students. And what I keep hearing from students is how valuable the faculty is to their experience and their whole undergraduate experience, and the way that the classes are so engaging and bring so much more to the table than typical lectures. Like, they really enjoy getting the chance to have this hands-on experience and be really plugged in with their faculty advisors and have all of this career advice. So again, I'll throw in my info. Please feel free to reach out. And then I think Gina just popped off, but she's another staff member that we have that works in marketing and with our master's program in sport coaching. But I will pass it along to see if we have any questions.
We do. We got one in the chat. I think I can click on this thing. And I don't know if I click this answer live button, who knows what's going to happen. All right, let me do the easy one. So anonymous attendee asked, how many people take the major and the minor? The current numbers, give or take a little bit. We can pull a report while we're sitting here. Last I looked, I'm sure Kayla has some numbers too, but the minor had close to about 60 students in the minor and 28 in the major, give or take, I think right now. And that is, the minor has slowly grown right from 20 to 40 to 60 this year. The major this year out the gate, there's a few seniors, a couple juniors, several freshmen and sophomores. And then based on what we've heard from undergraduate enrollment, we're expecting perhaps around 30 new majors to enroll, give or take a little bit this upcoming year too. I'll be honest too, when we throw a class out there, it gets a lot of attention, a lot of students signing up for it very quickly. So it's been great to see the interest grow in the programs, and I would anticipate it to continue to grow. I just think that the way, like Carl and Dr. Sharp was talking earlier as well about science and practice, faculty engagement, response, and responsiveness, I think that is just going to, the word will get out that this is a great group of people to take classes from and engage with, and share your experience and program with the DU. So, Dr. Campbell, you want to talk about the internship now then too, or a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm happy
busy.
people are inquiring about it. So, as we mentioned, this is our first year as a major. And so we are in the process of setting up procedures that will streamline internships and make it really easy for you. I think we're making great progress. And by this end of this year, actually the next couple of weeks, don't you think, Kayla, we'll be rolling pretty smooth. So right now at this point, we've had about 4 students complete their internship. This is a program requirement if you're in the major. You do need to complete at least 1 internship if you're in the major. The number of hours vary that people decide to do that for. If you're in the minor, you don't need to complete your internship. And then the final caveat I'd add is, like, if you're in the major, you can actually repeat the internship more than once. So you can see our emphasis here on really getting practical skills, getting on the ground. And we would love if you opted to complete the internship more than once throughout your studies. So we definitely encourage that. As far as like how do students find internships? Right now, since if you think about kinesiology, it's spread across so many different sectors, right? Like we have people who are interested in going into medicine and health. We have people who are interested in going into fitness. We have people who are interested in going into like outdoor rec, like in, working perhaps as a first aid personnel on a ski mountain. And so because there are such a wide variety of internships, and you think about that, you could also work with a lot of different populations, right? Do you want to work in youth sport? Do you want to work in college sports? So because there are so many areas that you can go into in this field, we encourage you all to go search for internships based on your needs, reach out to entities around the community. And then, we're working on building partnerships too for some of the more common paths that people will go into. And we do have a few different resources that you can tap into along with that as you search. So we have a job board specific to DU where we cultivate internship opportunities for kinesiology that we post there. We have another platform that our university is partnered with called, shoot, Kayla, it's slipping me. What was the name of
Teamwork.
Daniels?
Teamwork online.
Teamwork, yeah. So that's another good place to search for internships. There's just thousands you can search through there. So yeah, I guess I'll pause there. And I think that this is one that's perhaps worth following up on. If somebody, Chrissy, do people have the ability to unmute themselves and just sort of dialogue here around internships really quickly?
Unfortunately, no, not at this time. But I see that Kayla has put contact information in there, and then I can also put how you can find your admissions counselor, and we can get them into direct contact with you so you could have the chance to talk back and forth.
Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me. And I do see another question in here about if there's a page for or about internships. That's something that we are currently working on and should honestly be done in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that, I guess I would say. And then before I hop off of this topic, I'll invite Kayla to see if there's anything that I missed because she's been working on this too with me.
Yeah, I think pretty much covered it. We're definitely working to get the back end to make sure that you have all of the resources once you start looking for an internship to make sure that you feel really well supported and like you have a ton of great options. So we're building that out, and like a few people have mentioned, this being a new program, it is really a good time where we're all growing together and building something really special and something that you can feel like you have an ownership in, right? Like you're one of our earlier people, and we're all here to support you and make sure that this program grows to, more higher and higher achievements.
I'll just add real quick, because right, we're all going to remember things a little bit differently, or some of the key things that we're not saying. And I know we've already developed, Dr. Campbell's developed an online course that complements the internship and a fairly extensive, and myself has helped a bit with some of the risk management aspects, the forms, the paperwork. They've done a tremendous job automating a lot of that and providing ongoing check-ins and support weekly throughout the internship. So it's not, at least when I was in college 20 years ago too, it's not the go do the internship and see you later sort of approach. We want you to continue to integrate knowledge and skills together to get those practical skills as well as the critical thinking, professional judgment. So it's an ongoing mentorship supervision with us while you're in the field doing something too. So that's some great questions in the chat too. And so if we don't, we'll stick around too. I'll stick around personally till as long as I ever need to answer all these things. But also all these kind of questions are great. So keep throwing them in there, because what we will continue to do is develop resource pages, social media posts, YouTube videos, and other things to answer these questions as well as provide updates as we're going. So I'll tackle one real quick, and I'll popcorn it to Dr. Sharp here too. But one of the questions here from Henry, how does kinesiology compare to an exercise science or exercise physiology major? Right, great question. And I was a phys ed exercise science major. That's the title of my degree. I'm an undergrad. So I'll say from this perspective, it really depends on the coursework. The world of recreation and sport and exercise science and sports science and sport leadership and sport management, athletic training, pre-allied health, physical therapy, pre-physical sports medicine. We've done research on this thing, and for years, this is the challenge of this work, this inherently interdisciplinary work. It's not like math, biology. They're a little bit cleaner sciences, right? And so our world is really diverse and it varies considerably. So at DU, if you look at curriculums here, a good double major or a major minor combo would be a program in kinesiology and sports studies, along with biology, biochemistry, engineering, and they also have a newer degree, physiology of health and disease. If you look really at the coursework, that'll kind of dial in, right? Biology, chemistry, physics, calculus, other scientific, physiological, natural sciences. Whereas if you look at our program, we have some of those and courses that highlight aspects like those, but also social sciences, liberal arts education, philosophical approaches as well. So our curriculum is purposely kinesiology and sports studies because it is meant to connote the range of natural sciences, social sciences, humanistic, liberal arts, and then the students can tailor the electives and the options to really meet their needs. And one more thing, and I kick it to Dr. Sharp, a great thing about DU, and it's really fun, it's different for the faculty experience because we're not on a semester schedule, we're on a quarter schedule. And as a student or a prospective student, you get to take in 4 years a lot of different classes because they're only 10 weeks long. And so everybody at the university gets exposed to quite a bit of a range of topics. And so if you want a double major or a major, and you have to have a major and minor in most cases, some programs don't, but you'll have the opportunity to study things like exercise physiology and human physiology, in-depth nutrition, should you like to go that route a little bit more, or if you want to go into a different direction into, before we were talking sport journalism, sport management, we can help direct you in that. So, Dr. Sharp, what do you think too about that question?
Yeah, I agree. Largely in name only, kinesiology, exercise science, and exercise physiology largely are just different names. And as Dr. Garrity said, we chose kinesiology to be broad and all-encompassing. If you look at an exercise physiology program, it's really specific into exercise physiology. But you can do exercise physiology in the kinesiology program. So I'll dovetail this as what jobs do people typically get. It is in exercise science and exercise physiology. So my first degree was actually in human movement studies, which is very similar to kinesiology. And then my second degree was in exercise science. So they dovetail. And if you look at those programs, the courses that you can do in those programs are virtually identical. When it comes to the major and what you do with that degree, it does more depend upon, how many of those courses do you take? So my specialization is in exercise physiology and nutrition. So I have a lot more courses in exercise physiology, molecular biology of exercise, nutrition, molecular biology of nutrition, than somebody who is going to major in a different area. So you can do all of those within this kinesiology and sports studies program. The sorts of, and I'll kick this around because I think everybody can contribute to this in terms of where can you go with this. The sky's the limit. So I can tell you from myself and my students, they've gone into medicine, physical therapy, occupational therapy, all of those medical fields, athletic training, and so on, into the exercise science fields of exercise physiology, biomechanics, motor control, neurological control, everything tied into sports and movement, also in the nutrition area. Nursing is another one that I know people that have gone into. But then in the coaching side as well. So it is very, very broad. And I think everybody can sort of add to that based on their experiences and what they've done. Like I said, my degree, which I said is very, very similar to this. And one of the reasons I was really attracted to leave professional sport to come to this program was because I was so excited about what it does, because my undergraduate degree has allowed me to work at places like NASA, the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee, but also in nonprofit areas and areas that people don't typically think of, such as NASA, such as the Army and the military. I mean, anywhere you can think of that there's movement, this can take you there. So I'd like to kick it over to Dr. Kuklik, who can sort of add some more to that, I think, from his perspective.
Dr. Sharp, you caught me off guard. I was answering the Common Core question and the study abroad. I was typing, but yes, I'll take the kinesiology question from a little bit other end of the perspective, because I come from a phys ed background, also in coaching, also have done some work in exercise physiology too as well, and then social science. So I have dabbled all along those lines, but I come also from a PE background originally, from a motor learning and teaching motor skills and learning perspective as such, in that way. So anyway, the point about I think where we're getting at is the different avenues of kinesiology. We would not probably adhere to physical education, teacher education in this curriculum, partially because that requires other state licensure and education systems otherwise. Anyway, my point of presenting that is that there are some motor skill application, teaching and learning applications too with the kinesiology field. I'll just pause there, and I think I hopefully answered some of the just other aspects of where we might go with kinesiology. There was a question with sport management, so maybe I can address that too as we're talking about these different careers and topical areas in kinesiology. So I would say, I think that one of the questions was in relation to someone's interest in physical or sport management, and whether a business degree or kinesiology would fall in that realm. I would say that there are some courses that would appease the sport management. Also, I am part of, or I am a volunteer member as part of my service for the American Kinesiology Association, and absolutely sport management is discussed in these main discussions regarding standards and overarching standards for institutions that are supporting sport management careers. So I will leave you with that, and there is probably a bigger decision there, honestly, that you need to make on whether you would want to go business directly or kinesiology. But I can tell you that to support the kinesiology would be able to support that career in such a way. I will add that there is, we are not accredited by a sport management accreditation, but there is one out there. And it's not available at the University of Denver, but there is one out there that is an accredited association. But just to recap on that, in the realm of sport management, yes, kinesiology, does cover that realm and would be a part of this program directly. Yeah. Dr. G, did you have something on that? You had something on the Common Core that you were volleying there. Are we good with that? As it was related to some curricular stuff.
Yeah, the Common Core is coming along too. So you asked the question, what you will be able to take kinesiology courses to count towards Common Core. And then same thing with study abroad with, all of the programs here at the university, what you do, right? A study abroad, you take the study abroad courses. There's a couple internationalization courses that you take leading up to study abroad. Everybody has to do that. And then any university partner that has a similar course, if they've got like a course that is comparable with us, or if it's not exactly basically the same-ish kind of course, it would count towards elective. So that could be really anywhere. So it's not like you have to go to a particular place. It's much more broad and open. So I've gone, for example, I visited the University of Glasgow over in Scotland, University of Western Australia. They both offer a variety of courses that you could take as electives or required classes in our program, and they would all transfer credit.
I would say that we're also developing more of those relationships, Dr. Campbell. We have a meeting on Monday actually about this directly. One's specifically at Newcastle, and drilling down and getting that relationship developed a little bit more fully. But that's also to open up doors and networks for other partnerships across the globe, so.
Yeah, there's a good question too about the major for someone becoming a PA. I'm assuming that means physician assistant too, and please follow up in the chat. So most of the time when students major are looking for allied healthcare careers, either or pre-med or pre-med schools, and whether that be MD, DO, PA, NP, so nursing, NPs, Chiro, you'll generally do at least a year of biology, chemistry, physics, algebra, or calculus, the maths and sciences. But those programs usually also look for courses like psychology, sociology. We offer courses in sports science and prevention care of athletic injuries. And so there's opportunities too, and for internship in sports medicine fields to do those things and complement it. So it's some students will do something like kinesiology to prepare for that, but they're going to minor in or make sure they take other natural sciences. They just tend to want not just the sciences. They don't want just really in-depth course after course in organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, human physiology, mammalian physiology, high altitude physiology, some of the classes that we have here. Great classes, right? And if you want to go that route, great, maybe do that and then take a minor or just other supplemental classes in kinesiology and sports studies. The internship is limited to students in the major, so you could try to supplement that with either independent study or independent research too. Very common to kind of do both the major minor with natural sciences and with us.
Yeah, let me just add in, I think that you all are asking excellent questions as prospective students. It's like, what can I pair with kinesiology based on where I want to go? And this is what we spend 3 or 4 weeks addressing actually in our Foundations of Kinesiology class. We talk about the different career paths you can go into. We talk about what the educational requirements are, so that if you are majoring in kinesiology and you want to go on to be a PT, right? We take time to make sure you understand what the courses are outside of Kine that you'll need to qualify for PT school. So that is a big part of that Kine Foundations. It's Kine 2000 course that we offer right now twice a year. I'm sure it'll be more than twice a year within no time. So.
Yeah, Henry, so the next one too, facilities and labs, kinesiology majors get access to. So as I look around my office, right, we got PVC pipe and other things. So one of the things that we do is a newer program. It's a great question to ask. So we partner right now with the Ritchie Fitness, Ritchie Center for Fitness and Wellness. So over in the gym, for example, they've got a fitness center, a course fitness center that I'm teaching a weightlifting, powerlifting class, and we do 1 day a week in the classroom, 1 day a week in the gym, literally in a basketball gym over there, and then in the weightlifting gym over there too. So we partner with them and other folks on campus to help bolster our facilities. There are other colleges here that have, established facilities. They're a little bit bigger and a little bit nicer. So we reach out with them. We've talked to biology and work with them a little bit, have some partnerships and plans for increasing our human anatomy models and physiology models. We've purchased some additional models and supplies this year too, as we continue to develop more courses. And then certainly something that we continue to advocate. We don't have other facilities in for example, we don't have a bod pod or underwater hydrostatic weighing, that you would typically see in a hardcore exercise physiology program. I know that biology has developed a new physiology lab as well. We have some partnerships around town with different folks and internship sites that have some different facilities. So it's definitely on our long-term radar to continue to request and build those things out and get to the point where, hopefully we can have really first-class facilities. We've had some really good conversations this past 2 years where we've talked about partnerships with athletics and student life, where we would play a central role in advancing the health and well-being of our athletes and our students on campus, with an obvious connection in our program, leading away in that. Man, it's 7:10. Look at that. It went quick.
It went by so fast. Well, anybody, if you have any questions, lingering questions, please feel free to throw them in there. I'm actually going to be sharing all of the questions that you had tonight with the kinesiology team, so they can also continue to follow up with you. This will kind of conclude our evening. I'm going to put one more little message in the chat about how you can get in contact with our Office of Undergraduate Admission or with your admissions counselor exclusively. They are a really great resource to connect you not only to the kinesiology team, but maybe other programs that you're looking at, or additional programs like our leadership program, which sounds like it would go really great hand in hand with a kinesiology major or minor. So once again, thank you all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Be safe, be well, and hopefully we'll see you at the U very, very soon. Good night, everybody.
There you go. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.